Hello. On behalf of Rockdale Public Schools, I hope all are safe during these times. I wanted to thank you for joining the School Council Organization and Procedure presentation. Today we're going to be covering 8 areas of the organization: School Council Basics, Mission Statement, School Council Membership, Conducting Business, Open Meetings, Open Records, Confidential Law, Effectiveness of School Councils. Let's get started by asking, why were school councils established by the Education Reform Act of 2000? This was to improve communication and participation of parents and the community in the management and operation of schools. We understand that parents in the community are very critical to the success of our students and schools. The purpose of school councils are to help the local Board of Education develop and nurture participation, to bring parents and the community together with teachers and school administrators to create a better understanding of and mutual respect for each other's concerns, and to share ideas for school improvement. School councils also make a difference by bringing communities and schools closer together in a spirit of cooperation to solve difficult education problems. They improve academic achievement, provide support for teachers and administrators, and bring parents into the school-based decision-making process. What is the local governance structure of public schools? The management and control of schools is the responsibility of the local Board of Education. The board determines the policies and procedures and sets the expectations for the system. The Board of Education is accountable to the voters in their districts. The superintendent is hired by the local Board of Education to run the school system. The superintendent is accountable to the Board of Education, and the principal is the school leader. The principal is accountable to the superintendent. What is the role of school councils? School councils are policy-level advisory bodies. School councils represent the community of parents and businesses. School council members are accountable for the constituents they serve. What is the mission of school councils? To focus on student achievement. School councils accomplish their mission by providing advice and recommendation to the school principal and, when appropriate, the superintendent and the local Board of Education on any matter related to student achievement and school improvement. The law states 14 specific topics on which school councils may offer advice and recommendations, but are not limited to these topics. These topics fall into 3 broad categories: student learning, local school board policies, and communication and collaboration. The first category is student learning. The school council can provide advice and recommendations on the following areas: school improvement plans, curriculum and assessments, reports from school principal regarding progress towards the school's student achievement goals, including progress within specific grade and subject areas and by school personnel, report cards issued or audits of the school conducted by the Office of Student Achievement, school-based and community services, the method and specifications for the delivery of early intervention services or other appropriate services for underachieving students. The second category is local school board policies. Some of the topics for discussion are extracurricular activities in the school, community use of school facilities, school budget priorities, including school capital improvement plans, and student discipline and attendance. The third and final category that student council can address is communication and collaboration. Some of the topics discussed include developing a school profile containing data identified by the school council to describe the academic performance, academic progress, services, awards, interventions, and environment of the school, school community communication strategies, and methods of involving parents in the community. What is a school council legally authorized to do? Advise and make recommendations to the principal, local Board of Education, and superintendent on matters relating to student achievement. Participate in the selection of the school principal in accordance with the written policy of the local board. Review and approve the school improvement plan. Review school site budget and expenditure information and class size by grade. Also writing and submitting an annual report to the local school board. What are additional school council responsibilities? They are appointing committee, study groups, or task force for such purposes as it deems helpful. Utilize existing or new school advisory groups. Provide a parent member to serve on the intervention team in case of low school performance as indicated by the Office of Student Achievement. Also participate in any hearing at the local school ordered by the State Board of Education in case of low performance as indicated by the Office of Student Achievement. Some of the expectations for all school council members are maintain a school-wide perspective on issues, regularly participate in school council meetings, participate in information and training programs, Act as a link between the school council and the community. Encourage the participation of parents and others within the school community, and to work with student achievement and performance. In order to be effective, the local board provides training programs that consist of addressing the organization of school councils, their purpose and responsibilities, applicable laws, rules, regulations, and meeting procedures, and important state and local school system program requirements. Additional training programs shall be offered to school council members annually. Some of the other responsibilities to the local Board of Education to school councils are to provide all non-confidential information, including school site budget and expenditure information, and class size by grade to the council as requested, or as required by the state law or state board rule. To designate a system representative to attend council meetings when requested. To receive and consider all recommendations of the school council and the annual report. How does the local Board of Education respond to the school council recommendations? Public notice shall be given to the community of the local board's intent to consider school council's reports or recommendations. Written notice shall be given to the members of the school council at least 7 days prior to the local board meeting, along with a notice of intent to consider the council's report or recommendation. The members of the school council shall be afforded an opportunity to present information in support of the school council's report or recommendation. The local board shall respond to the recommendations of the school council within 60 days after being notified in writing of the recommendation. To obtain information, the Central Administration Office shall be responsive to the requests of information from a school council, except for information specifically made confidential by law. Now that we have covered what the role of the school council plays, let's talk about school council membership, election, and terms. Who serves on a school council? A school principal, a number of parents or guardians of students enrolled in the school, excluding employees who are parents or guardians of such students, to make up the majority of the council. At least 2 parents must be business people, at least 2 certified teachers, excluding any personnel employed in administrative positions, who are employed at least 4 of the 6 school segments at the school. Others that may serve on the school council are selection procedures of the business members, other than the required parent business members, and other members shall be specified in the council's bylaws. The school council may choose to have students, staff, representatives of schools-related organizations, and others on the school council. How are parents and teachers elected? The principal is to provide public notice at least 2 weeks prior to the elections. The principals shall call a meeting of elected bodies. The elected body is for parents or guardians consisting of all persons eligible to serve as the parent or guardian representative on the council. The electing bodies for teachers consisting of all certified personnel eligible to serve as a teacher representative on the council. Now that we know when is the election? The school council shall specify in its bylaws the month in which elections are to be held and shall specify a nomination and election process. Officers shall be elected at the first meeting following election of council members. The term of school council member areas are as follows. 2-year terms are as specified in the council's bylaws. Terms must be staggered when starting a council. 1/2 of the parent and teachers will be elected to 1-year terms. The other will be elected to 2-year terms, beginning the staggering process. Terms shall begin and end on the date specified in the council's bylaws. A vacancy is defined as a member that withdraws by submitting a written resignation to the council, or an inactive member, as defined by the bylaws of the council, is removed by the majority vote of the members of the council. A member that no longer meets the specified qualifications. Once a vacancy occurs, an election to fill the vacancy must occur within 30 days unless there are 90 days or less remaining in the vacated term. The election fills an expired term. It does not begin a new term. The election should follow the procedures in the council's bylaws. Who are the officers that make up the school council? The chairperson must be a parent member, vice chairperson, and secretary. The officers shall be elected at the first meeting of the council after the election of the council members. The term of office for the officers shall be specified in the council's bylaws. The principal shall set the initial agenda, meeting time, and location, and notify all school council members of the same. Perform all duties required by law and the bylaws of the school council. Communicate all council requests for information and assistance to the local school superintendent and inform the council of responses or actions taken. Develop the school improvement plan and school operations plan and submit the plans to the school council for its review, comments, and recommendations and approval. Aid in the development of the agenda for each meeting after taking into consideration suggestions of council members and the urgency of school matters. The vice chairperson shall, in the absence or disability of the chairperson, perform the duties and exercises the powers of the chairperson. Perform such other duties as shall from time to time be required by the school council. The school council secretary shall attend all school council meetings, act as clerk of the council, and be responsible for recording all votes and minutes of all proceedings in the book to be kept for that purpose. Give to be given notice of all meetings of the council. Perform other duties as may be prescribed by the council. A quorum must be present in order to conduct official business. A quorum is comprised of a majority of the members. A majority of the members present, representing a quorum, must vote yes for a motion to pass. Adopting and amending bylaws requires 2/3 majority of the school council. Bylaws. The school council adopts bylaws as it deems appropriate to conduct business. The State Board of Education shall make available Model Council bylaws. The bylaws template is available at georgiaeducation.org. Some of the details defined by bylaws are as follows. The school council adopts the bylaws it deems appropriate to conduct its business. Bylaws must specify the number of members, election and nomination procedures, selection process for additional members, terms of office, beginning and end date, and length of term, month of election, number of meetings with a minimum of 4, a definition of an inactive member. Meetings. Meetings must be held at least 4 times a year. A number of meetings must be specified in the bylaws, must be open to the public, must be notified by mail at least 7 days prior to the meeting of the date, time, and location of the meeting, may be called by the chair or the request of the majority of the members of the council, are subject to open meetings and open record laws. When it comes to voting, each council member has 1 vote. The vote must be recorded in the book kept for that purpose. Agenda. It may be added at the request of 3 or more members. The agenda must be posted in the meeting site within 2 weeks of the meeting. Minutes. The school council secretary must make the council minutes available to the public at the school site. The school council secretary must provide a summary of the meeting, subjects acted on, and members present within 2 days of the meeting. The school council secretary must send the minutes to the school council members within 20 days. The school council adopts the minutes, as may be amended at the next meeting. The school council secretary must make the official minutes available to the public following adoption. The school council secretary keeps minutes and records votes in a book kept for that purpose. Minutes must include names of all council members attending, a description of each motion or proposal, a record of all votes. Roll call votes must be listed with the name of each person voting for or against. Parliament procedures. School council meetings should be conducted using parliament procedures, which can be summed up as make a motion, second a motion, debate a motion, and vote on a motion. See Georgia's School Council Guidebook for additional information at georgiaeducation.org.
The next topic is open meetings.
School council meetings. School councils are subject to the Open Meetings Act. A meeting is defined as a gathering of a quorum of the members of the school council at which all public matters, official business, or policy is to be discussed with official actions taken. All meetings are open unless specifically allowed by law to be closed. Open means open to public attendance. It does not require that the meetings be open to public participation. Meetings may be called by the chair or at the request of the majority of the members of the council. When discussing candidates for principal vacancy, the open school council may go into executive session. All votes must be taken in public. See the Georgia School Council Guidebook or the Open Meetings Act for the rules on meetings and executive session. Violations of the Open Meetings Act. Anyone conducting or participating in a meeting in violation of the Open Meetings Act is guilty of a misdemeanor and, upon conviction, punishable by a fine not to exceed $1,000. Any action taken in violation of the Open Meetings Act is not binding. School council records. School councils are subject to the Open Records Act. School council records are public and open to the review of any citizen at a reasonable time and place. Response to a request for open records must be made within 3 business days. Reasonable charges may be charged for time and labor to produce and copy requested records. Confidential records. Student records are not accessible to school council members. Personnel evaluations are not accessible to school council members. School personnel personal information is not accessible to school council members. What are school councils doing? School councils spend a lot of time learning about test scores and assessments, school budgets and teacher allocations, student interventions and support teams, curriculum and instruction, discipline, and other student policies. Most frequently, address topics of math, reading, literacy, attendance, and parent involvement, linking parent workshops with school improvement plan, developing plans to reduce absenteeism and tardiness, school improvement goals and achievements, and addressing a variety of needs in their schools. In a school council evaluation, there is no legal requirement that a school council be evaluated, but most effective organizations, however, do self-evaluations periodically.
This concludes the school council's organization and procedures presentation. On behalf of Rockdale Schools, thank you for watching and be safe.